The one question I get asked the most, and the most requested video I've been asked to make, is how do you come up with your patterns, and can you teach us how to make them? Well, fun fact, I've created my own basic block that is the foundation for everything that I create. Ta-da! Ta-da! And that's the back piece right here. I do also have these two block pieces for tops, but today we're focusing on bottoms. Full disclosure, it's just been a series of tutorials and random bits and pieces of information I've patched together to come up with it. So before I go telling a bunch of lies and misinformation, let me first learn from the professionals of how to draft a pattern, and well, then I'll combine my knowledge with what I've learned from here, and hopefully that cocktail will be a delightful bit of information for you. Step number one, taking my measurements. Okay, so first up, my seat. Let's see here, that's the biggest part of the butt. 40.5. Trouser waist. So that's going to be, so about here, yeah, waist. This is just that good old-fashioned stuff that doctors put on their tables, much cheaper than drafting paper. So it looks like I start by just getting my basic skeleton in place. You know, it's a bit like a sculpture. Start off with big chunks and then get into the finer details. This is my waistline, minus the waistband, of course. And then this is the crotch line. That's the inside of the pants. This is going to be on the outside by the hips. Also, this is the front piece of the pattern. And then as we move down, right here, I've got my knees, and then finally, the bottom of the pants. So far, so good. It's all making sense. Start drawing in some of the shapes. There we go. Nice. So that is my full front piece of the pattern. It's actually a bit easier than I'd anticipated. Moving on to the back piece, and I have taped down a second piece on top, and because it's nice and see-through, I can just go ahead and copy over my skeleton lines, curving up and meet our line over here. Okay. And that's the back piece sorted out. Trim this pattern out. Next step is to try this pattern out. I do personally like to put a zipper in my sample pants. I find it just gives me a more accurate representation of what the final fit will be like for the pattern. Boom. There we go. Okay. Take a little bit out here. They're a little bit big. Maybe taper down here a little bit, half an inch or so. These things have turned out much better than I anticipated. I thought there was going to be quite a bit of editing that I have to do, but minor tweaks. Yo, Corn, are you getting good at this? Are you learning how to actually sew? Make these minor adjustments. A touch too slim through here, so I'll have to go out again a little bit, but I do like that it's not so loose in here. I am pleased with myself. Returning to my pattern pieces once more, and to two edits I'm making. Number one, just pulling the pattern in on the inside of the thighs. And then I also want to add an extra inch of height in the back of my pants. So what have I learned? Well, a few years ago when I first started drafting patterns, I remember being quite daunted by the instructions, like the ones in this book, because they're highly specific, but I didn't understand how they related to the pattern. For example, when drawing the back curve of the pants, the instructions would say, make sure it meets about half an inch up here before going back down so that you get this sort of an arch. Having made a pant or two since those early drafting days, I've come to realize it's a combination of math and art. So in the beginning, the key is to get the fundamentals right, making sure the proportions match our body types. But then getting those curves is a bit of an art because it's going to change depending on the different shapes of each of our unique and slightly different body types. So in our example here, making sure to first get these fundamentals the right size for our body type, but then this curve in the back, say, like me, you're skinny, it's going to be a pretty deep curve like this, but then say, you're a little bit more shapely. Well, then that's going to become more of a gentle curve to allow a bit more fabric in there. And that only comes through practice and making a few mistakes and trying again. Nothing left now but actually make this tutorial.